I'm not aware of any secret technology to combat aging, and I mean, I don't know that we should really try to live for a super long time. I think there is some. It is important for us to die because, you know, most of the times people don't change their mind; they just die. And so, if we live forever, then we might become a very ossified society where new ideas cannot succeed. So, um, but I'm not poking fun at aging. I'm just saying, you know, if we've got people in very important positions that have to make decisions that are critical to the security of the country, then they need to have sufficient presence of mind and cognitive ability to make those decisions well, because the whole country is depending on them.
You, Baldas from BGD Holdings. I'd be very interested. First, let me thank you for what you're doing in terms of your breakthrough for humanity. But I am curious about your views on China and the United States, just on a free-flowing basis, if you want to share a few thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're at an interesting point in history where the United States has been the world's largest economy for as long as anyone can remember. Um, you know, I don't think U.S. became the largest economy, I don't know, probably 120, 130 years ago. And there's nobody that old really anymore who can remember a time when the United States was not the world's biggest economy. Now we're heading towards a situation where China is going to be probably have an economy 2 to 3 times the size of the United States, and so that's just a different world. I do think there's there are a lot of people in the government in China who kind of grew up with China being a small economy, and maybe who feel like China was pushed around a lot, but they haven't fully appreciated the fact that China really is going to be the big kid on the block, and so, like, if you're going to be the big kid on the block, then you can really be pretty chill about things. You know, you don't have to worry about, like, other countries are not really a threat to you if you're by far the biggest kid on the block, and you know, so I would say that's kind of an important mindset change. Hopefully that you know, China goes through, is just, you know, to think, like, if you are the biggest kid, like, how would you want the biggest kid on the block to behave? And now, if you are going to be the biggest kid on the block, then wouldn't you want to behave like you would have wanted the biggest kid on the block to behave? I think that's pretty important. I mean, overall, you know, I think, like, Tesla has a good relationship with China, and I don't mean to endorse everything that China does, any more than I would say endorse everything the United States does, or any country. But you know, overall, I think yeah, we are headed to an interesting and different world, and I hope that we can remember that, you know, we're all human beings, and, you know, let's just try to have as positive a relationship as possible, and you know, and work towards mutual prosperity of humanity as a whole. Now, in order to make a rocket fully reusable, you've got to basically create a rocket that can do about 4%, if not more than 4%, of its liftoff mass to orbit, which hasn't happened before. So that means you have to have basically A pluses across the board, incredibly efficient engines, incredibly efficient structure. You do need scale, because there are some efficiencies of scale. That's why part of why Starship is so gigantic. Because, for example, the brain of the rocket really weighs about the same if it's a small rocket or a big rocket. So with a big rocket, you get to have the avionics be basically round down to 0% or will be inconsequential in the mass of the vehicle. Then you need to make an incredibly light heat shield. And just there's so many things that need to be done to have both the booster and the upper stage or ship be reusable. Insanely difficult. It's not like many super smart people have tried to do this before and no one has succeeded. And most of the time they've just given up partway through. But if full and rapid reusability can be achieved, it reduces the cost of access to orbit by a factor of 100 or more. So
more of
it's
us
just
could
like
go eventually.
Yeah, it's like an aircraft. Imagine if an aircraft or a car or any form of transport was not reusable. Imagine if you had to buy a new plane every time you flew. That would make air flight insanely expensive, or a car. If you had to get a new car every time you drove somewhere, that would be unbelievably expensive as opposed to simply refueling it. So we've got to get rockets to the point where we simply refuel the rocket and we don't throw it away. And with Falcon 9, we've managed to make the booster reusable and the fairing, the nose cone reusable, but not the upper stage. So we've made I think the most progress in reusability that has ever been done. But with Starship, we're hoping to make the whole thing reusable. This is profound. Like I said, it is the difference between humanity being a single planet species and a multi-planet species. It's really that big of a deal.
All right, well, Elon, they're running the clock down on me, so I want to ask you one last question, and we'll try to go to at least one or two audience questions. I wanted to ask you a little bit about humor. You're a pretty funny guy. You show it on Twitter a lot. You've hosted SNL. And I'm wondering how that plays into your management style. I mean, would your coworkers say you're funny? Is this something you're sort of bringing to the office now? Is it helped with managing your teams?
I mean, I think I'm funny. I find my jokes funny. I don't know. I guess I do. I mean, I do crack a lot of jokes. They don't all land, but I am aspirationally, aspirationally funny. Yeah. I mean, we try to have a good sense of humor at the office too.
Okay.
I think yeah.
Well, Elon, thank you so much for being here tonight, or where you are, and thank you, everybody.